Keir Starmer has blood on his hands after this latest reveal. Yes, Starmer is not shy in making crazy decisions since he has taken over. Now we are starting to see the consequences of these decisions. We will discuss this in today's video, whilst also going over all of the latest news from the last 24 hours. But first, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel and join our fast-growing community. A rioter who was jailed for disorder and verbally abusing police over the summer has died in prison. Prison sources told The Telegraph that Peter Lynch is believed to have taken his own life on Saturday night at HMP Moorland near Doncaster in South Yorkshire. The 61-year-old grandfather was jailed for 2 years and 8 months on August 22nd after pleading guilty to violent disorder in a hearing at Sheffield Crown Court. The court was told Lynch went to the Holiday Inn Express in Manvers, Rotherham, on August 4th with a placard which called police officers, MPs and the media corrupt. An investigation has been launched by the Prisons and Probation Ombudsman. A prison service spokesman said, HMP Moorland prisoner Peter Lynch died on October 19, 2024. As with all deaths in custody, the Prisons and Probation Ombudsman will investigate. At the sentencing hearing earlier this year, Judge Jeremy Richardson KC said Lynch shouted racist and provocative remarks towards officers and called asylum seekers in the hotel child killers. Body-worn camera footage was shown to the court of him screaming, "You are protecting people who are killing our kids and raping them," at officers with riot shields. Lynch of Burman Road, Wath-upon-Dearn, was a full participant in the disorder, the court was told. "You were unquestionably endeavouring to rev up the situation the best you could," the recorder added. It comes as more than 1,000 extra prisoners are set to be freed early this week, as the government puts the latest stage of its plan to ease jail overcrowding into action. On Tuesday, around 1,100 inmates will be released, as the policy is expanded to those serving sentences of 5 years or more. It follows the first release of around 1,700 prisoners from jails across England and Wales on September 10th. This came after Justice Secretary Shabana Mahmood announced plans in July to cut temporarily the proportion of sentences inmates must serve behind bars from 50% to 40%, as the Ministry of Justice, MOJ, said overcrowding had pushed jails to the point of collapse. A steady stream of eligible prisoners have been leaving jails under the changes ever since. The policy is expected to be reviewed within 18 months. Last month, bricklayer Ashley Williams, who went into the Holiday Inn Express in Manvers, Rotherham in August, and threw a fire extinguisher and a chair at police, has been jailed for 2.5 years. More than 200 asylum seekers took shelter upstairs, and staff barricaded themselves into the kitchen. The footage was shown at Sheffield Crown Court, along with further clips, which showed him emerging from the building, wearing very distinctive neon green shorts and a t-shirt, and throwing the fire extinguisher at a line of police officers with riot shields who were pinned against a wall. Williams of Lowfield Walk, Dennerby Main, South Yorkshire, then rejoined the large crowd which was screaming at the officers and throwing missiles before emerging again to throw a chair at the line of shields. James Burley, defending, said his client came from a stable, loving home and is adamant there is no issue of racist intent. He said Williams, who admitted violent disorder at an earlier hearing, has ADHD and has recently also been diagnosed with autism. Judge Sarah Wright acknowledged that the defendant struggled with consequential thinking and had no previous convictions, but she said he played a willing role in the violence. These prison sentences are crazy, and the releasing of real criminals will lead to more and more lives lost. What are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments. In other news, Jeremy Clarkson has admitted that for the first time ever, he was left fearful while walking the streets of London. The 64-year-old, who recently underwent a heart procedure after discovering a blocked artery, splits his time between the UK capital and his Cotswolds farm, but it sounds like his latest foray outside of Oxfordshire was far from pleasant. Clarkson spends much of his days working at Diddley Squat, alongside the likes of Caleb Cooper and Lisa Hogan, as they film the 4th season of Clarkson's Farm. And with Clarkson, James May and Richard Hammond no longer part of the fold on the Grand Tour, work meetings in London have taken a back seat compared to the demands of running his sprawling Oxfordshire farm. Nevertheless, during a recent trip to the capital, Clarkson has detailed how he's witnessed a marked decline in the city, and that it feels like London is dying in his eyes. He explained all in a recent column, writing, "On a tube train journey in London this week, I overheard a woman saying to her friend that her flat had been burgled and all the family passports stolen. Later, I saw a Porsche with both of the near-side doors missing. And then I noticed that in one of the most expensive streets in West London's Notting Hill, half the shops are now boarded up. I then walked back to my flat and, for the first time ever, felt slightly threatened. I also felt slightly squiffy. The smell of weed was overpowering everywhere. I don't know. It felt to me like London is dying," he brutally surmised in The Sun, before turning his attention to London Mayor Sadiq Khan. Elsewhere in the column, Clarkson tore into the Labour politician for his decision-making as London Mayor, most notably the decision to turn down the chance to build a Las Vegas-style Sphere arena in the city. Clarkson questioned if Khan was mad to reject proposals based on the fear of light pollution. Continuing his tirade against Khan, he penned, "The Tories, who were in power at the time, tried to overrule the deranged Mayor of London, but it was too late. The company behind the idea pulled out, saying they didn't want to be a political football. In the end, Clarkson pointed out the flaws in using environmental fears as a factor in the rejection of the plans, remarking that those who want to experience the Sphere will now have to fly to Vegas or the UAE, where the proposals have been greenlight. This isn't the first time Clarkson has let rip on Khan over his running of London, previously accusing the politician of fucking up the city. He also raged earlier this year that the city had become socialist and branded a new traffic measure by the mayor as a madcap left-wing plot. While Clarkson may have found time to unleash the attack on Khan, he's also had to deal with his recovery from a rather worrying health scare. During a recent sun-soaked getaway, Clarkson began to feel unwell, and upon returning home, ended up being rushed to the hospital. Following a tightness in my chest and feelings of clamminess and pins and needles, Clarkson feared he may have been having a heart attack. It seems that of the arteries feeding my heart with nourishing blood, one was completely blocked, and the second of 3 was heading that way, Clarkson wrote in the Sunday Times. So he made a hole in my wrist, inserted his dyno rod equipment, and went in for a closer look. Rather than a bypass, the doctor was able to insert stents into the 64-year-old's heart, and the Clarkson's farm star has since returned home to continue his recovery. What are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comment section below. If you've not yet already, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British content. Thank you. Take care. Goodbye.